Hello students, welcome to your English literature class. Today we will read the chapter A Bond for Life. Chapter number 6, A Bond for Life. American author, activist and lecturer Helen Keller was the first deaf-blind person to receive a Bachelor of Arts degree. She lost her eyesight and hearing after a mysterious fever struck her when she was 19 months old. So, dear students, as you know, Helen Keller was American author, activist and lecturer, was the first deaf and blind person. She was deaf as well as blind person to receive a Bachelor of Arts degree. She was the first deaf and blind person who received graduation degree. She lost her eyesight and hearing after a mysterious fever struck her when she was 19 months old. When she was 19 months old, she was a mysterious fever, a fever which left her blind and deaf. She was only 19 months old, so her eyesight and hearing power was gone. As she grew older, Helen felt a burning desire to speak, but when she started growing older and she wanted to speak, but she was unable to speak, then she felt so much frustrated because she felt her inability. She became stubborn and wild. So, fortunately, her parents came to know about the Perkins Institute for the Blind. So, it was a fortunate moment for her parents that they came to know about an institute named Perkins Institute for the Blind. So, which sent the 20-year-old Anne Sullivan to instruct Helen at her home. So, Helen's parents appointed a teacher whose name was Anne Sullivan. She was 20-year-old and she was at Perkins Institute for the Blind. This institute sent this teacher Annie Sullivan to Helen's house to teach her. So, this whole extract which we are going to start is an extract from an autobiography, The Story of My Life, which is written by Helen Keller later on, which was written by Helen Keller later on. In this autobiography, particularly in this chapter, A Bond for Life, we come to know about the experiences that she suffered while she was deaf and blind, and she was not able to speak and was not able to see things, and so she didn't know anything she didn't know anything about the things around her. So, autobiography is an account of a person's life written by that person himself or herself. So, the story of my life, you can read it, and but we are reading an extract, a part of that autobiography, A Bond for Life. In this chapter we will read. So, about Anne's arrival at her home and how from then on everything acquired a new meaning in her life. So, after coming of the teacher Anne Sullivan, how does the life changes? How does the life change for her, for Keller? So, students, can you imagine how would a person's life be who is deaf and blind, who cannot see, who cannot listen, who cannot hear. So it would have been a very difficult situation in her life when she is not able to see anything and when she is not able to speak. How would have she been able to learn things around her? So with this thought, let's see, with this curious feeling, let's start with the chapter. The most important day I remember in my life is the one on which my teacher Anne Mansfield Sullivan came to me. So I refers to Helen Keller here, the person Helen Keller who has written this autobiography, the story of my life, and A Bond for Life is an extract of this autobiography, and we are reading it. And the most important day I remember, she says that I remember that day, the day on which my teacher, whose name was Anne Mansfield Sullivan, came to her. So she remembers that day when her teacher Anne Mansfield Sullivan came to her. I am filled with wonder when I consider the immeasurable contrast between the two lives which it connects. So she says that I remember, I am filled with surprise about that particular day when the teacher and Mansfield Sullivan came to her. She says that I am filled with surprise when I consider the immeasurable contrast. She says that I just get surprised that how different the lives were, how different, how completely contrast, how completely opposite lives are. So it was the 3rd of March 1887, 3 months before I was 7 years old. So she says that the day was 3rd of March when she came to her. On the afternoon of that eventful day, she says that on that afternoon of that day full of events, I stood on the porch. She says that she stood on the porch. A porch is a small covered area at the entrance of a house. So dumb and expectant. She says that I was standing up, dumb, but I was full of expectations that I will learn something. So I was expecting something. I guessed vaguely from my mother's signs. So because she didn't know what was going to happen, that the parents have called up a teacher to teach her, she didn't know, and but she came to know about the mother's signs, and from the hurrying to and fro in the house, that something unusual was about to happen. So she says that she came to know roughly with the help of the activities going on around her, like mother was also giving some signs, and the people of the house, other people of the house were also coming and going. They were doing something unusual things, they were happening there. So she says that she made a guess roughly only that something unusual was going to happen. So I went to the door and waited on the steps. She says that so she went to the door and started waiting. The afternoon sun penetrated the mass of honeysuckle that covered the porch. So she says that the sun penetrated the mass of the honeysuckle that covered the porch. She just is describing the scene where she was sitting. She says that sun has covered all the honeysuckle. Honeysuckle is a kind of a sweet smelling twining vine. She says that the sun covered it, entered that mass, penetrated, covered and entered the mass of honeysuckle. Honeysuckle, I have told you, is a kind of a sweet smelling twining vine that covered the porch and fell on my upturned face. Where she was sitting, the sun was there, and as she has kept her face upturned, and that the rays of sun were falling on her face. So she says that my fingers lingered almost unconsciously on the familiar leaves and blossoms which had just come forth to greet the sweet southern spring. So she is describing the scene where she is sitting and she is waiting what something different is going to happen in her life. She says that her fingers lingered, means continued to stay. She says that her fingers were continuously on, almost unconsciously on the familiar leaves. Her fingers were on the leaves which were already familiar to her. She knows about them, leaves and flowers which had just come forth to greet the sweet southern spring. So these leaves and flowers, these leaves and blossoms were a symbolic entry of, entry of the spring. I did not know what the future held of marvel or surprise for me. So she says that she didn't know that what was there in future for her. So she was surprised, and what was the things which were surprising for her in future, she didn't know about them. Anger and bitterness had preyed upon me. She says that I was angry and bitter all the time, continuously for weeks, regularly for so many weeks, and a deep languor had succeeded this passionate struggle, and this anger and bitterness had been very regular, had been continuous, and a deep languor means lack of physical or mental vitality. So she was always feeling in herself lack of physical and mental vitality, and this struggle has increased. What was the struggle? Of learning something. Have you ever been at sea in a dense fog? So the writer Helen Keller wants to imagine yourself, to feel yourself in a dense fog, when it seemed as if a tangible white darkness shut you in. She just asks you to imagine that you are in a dense fog and you are shut in that white darkness. Dense fog means white darkness. In darkness you are unable to see, and in dense fog you are unable to see, but that is tangible which can be seen. And the great ship, tense and anxious, grouped her way towards the shore with plummet and sounding line, and you waited with beating heart for something to happen. So she asks you to imagine yourself to be in dense fog in which you cannot see anything. Like she says that you imagine that a ship is there in dense fog which is tense, and and the ship has lost its way and towards the shore, because the ship has lost its way, and with the plummet and sounding line means devices used to find the depth of water. And she says that you imagine yourself like a ship which has lost its way, and you waited with beating heart for something to happen. And like a lost ship is waiting for something to happen, waits something to happen, in the same way she says that I was also like a ship which has lost its way, and I myself considered myself like that, and I just waited for something to happen. I was like that ship before my education began. So she says that I was like that ship which has lost its way after the teacher started teaching me. Only I was without compass or sounding line, and had no way of knowing how near the harbor was. So she says that I don't know where my destination was, what was my aim in life, what was my what was my aim in life. So harbor here represents aim. I don't know the destination. So light, give me light. I was just expecting the light. Light was my knowledge, means education. Was the wordless cry of my soul. My soul was crying for education, for light, and the light of love shone on me on that very hour. And at that particular moment when my soul was crying for light and education and knowledge, in that particular time, in that particular hour, that light of love shone on me. So I felt approaching footsteps. At that moment I just felt that someone was coming near to me. I stretched out my hand as I supposed to my mother. I just supposed that my mother was coming to me. Someone took it, but it was something else, someone else, and I was caught up and held close in arms of her who had come to reveal all things to me. So, and more than all things else, to love me. So at that particular moment when she touched me, when she held me in her arms, I just I was caught up and held close in her arms, or arms of her who had come to me. So at that moment I didn't know who was she, but later on I realized that she was the person who had come to me to reveal all things to me, to tell all things to me, to tell the mystery of all the things to me, the world around me, more than all things, not only the things. She also had come to love me. The morning after my teacher came, she led me into her room and gave me a doll. So the morning after my teacher came, she led me into her room and gave me a doll. So she gave me a doll when she came to me, the day she came to me, and she took me into her room and presented me a doll. The little blind children at the Perkins Institute had sent it. So the little blind children, other children who were there in Perkins institution, they had sent that doll to me, and Laura Bridman had dressed it. Laura Bridman is another deaf and blind person who had been taught by this particular institution called a Perkins Institute, a deaf and blind girl who had been successfully educated at the Perkins Institute. So she had dressed that doll, but I didn't know this until afterwards. But earlier I didn't know it when it was presented to me, but later on I came to know that Laura Bridman had dressed it for me.